you want to understand what's happening on the policy side, what's happening. You want to get a pulse of the policy side, you come to Delhi. But if you want to know what's happening in the market, you have to travel to Mumbai. I learned that 21 years ago. And now, obviously, we got whole of Mumbai here. We got Nilesh Bhai, Utpal Sheth, and of course, Atul Suri. Thank you, first of all of you, for coming here and flying from Mumbai. Nilesh Bhai, I'm going to start with you. Gujarati में कहावत है, बधारे बधारे लेवानु, घटाड़े घटाड़े बेचवानु. For those of you who don't understand, buy in a rising market, sell in a falling market. That used to be the trading principle. एक साल से most of the people are trying to understand, is this a rising market or is this a falling market? Your thoughts on that?
So very tough question, Anuj Bhai. Because, after 5 years of 25% plus return in small and mid cap, everyone's expectation is that 25% return to ban hi jayega. Now, obviously, when those expectations are not felt, confusion arises whether it's a rising market or a falling market. I will say for an investor, this is a great opportunity to invest. And for a trader, it's a very, very difficult market.
Nilesh Bhai said 25%. There was a time when people would say कि सर 25% बन जाए, we'll be happy. मैं कहा 25% बहुत ज्यादा है, थोड़ा सा कम करो. बोले अच्छा चलो ठीक है, 15% बन जाए काफी है. मैं कहा 15% बन सकता है, थोड़ी सी मेहनत करनी होगी, म्यूचुअल फंड्स में थोड़ा सा. बोले नहीं सर गलत समझ रहे हो, 15% साल का नहीं, 15% महीने का चाहिए. So we have seen that kind of phase in the market, right? Utpal, of course, you've been a legendary investor. You worked with, you've been the right-hand man. You were the right-hand man of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. You've seen so many market cycles. You've seen so many reforms. How do you rate this particular reform, the GST cut? How big is that? Many people are comparing it with 91, many people with 96, the dream budget. To your mind, how big a reform is this for the market?
Thank you, Anuj. Before I start my response to that, let me extend what Nilesh Bhai said. So Rakesh ji used to always say, "Vadhare vadhare levanu, vadhare vadhare levanu, gatade gatade vechwanu." But he also used to say that trading and investing are two different things. When you say "vadhare vadhare levanu" and "vadhare vadhare vechwanu," "gatade gatade vechwanu," for trading, you are referring to price. That as price goes up, you buy more. As price go down, you reduce exposure. But when you're talking about investing, it is still vadhare vadhare levanu, still ghatade ghatade vechwanu, but you buy as the value goes up and sell as the value goes down. So in one case, you are following price. In the other case, you are following value. Okay. So since Nilesh Bhai made that distinction, I thought I'll...
See, that's the advantage that you had of working with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, which none of us had, right?
Yes, I'm blessed. Thank you. Okay, coming to your question. See, I think it is a very material reform. Much needed. Because over the recent years, we were definitely seeing consumption struggling. And I'm hoping that this works out and consumption does pick up. Consumption is 60% plus of our economy.
Yeah.
It is imperative for consumption to do well. However, the root cause is actually the real per capita income. We need the real per capita income to go up. It can go up by two ways. One is incomes go up, and second is prices go down. This actually improves the real per capita income. So I think it is a very substantial reform, much needed, and we are looking forward to its positive outcome.
Okay. Nilesh Bhai, just to extend that point, consumption, it's 60% of our GDP, right? Do you see this as a spring kind of effect on the economy? Because 2 साल से तकलीफ क्या रही है हमारी कि अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ नहीं आ रही है. मार्केट में हम जब भी बात करते हैं, कोई भी आप भी अगर आए हैं चैनल पर, आपने हमेशा बोला है कि अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ नहीं आ रही है. कैन दिस लीड टू दैट वर्चुअस साइकिल, people spending more, companies earning more, and then investing more, and eventually the earning cycle revising upwards?
So Anuj bhai, as Utpal bhai mentioned, this reform will support real per capita income. For last 10 years, we have done many supply side reforms, which kind of unleashed the supply creation, ease of doing business, the banking system cleanup. Now, it's time that we start pushing demand, because our capacity utilization has remained around 75% for some time. And if your capacity utilization doesn't go to 80-85%, people are not investing. So now we are giving support on the demand side, hoping that this demand will create a virtuous cycle of demand improving utilization, utilization creating private capex creating new jobs, and this circle continues to move. But to me, this is first step. There are many more steps we need to take. And the most important thing is ease of doing business. We have done a lot. But even today, we have so many rules, regulations, compliance burden on an entrepreneur that it takes his energy and time in managing those compliances. For example, we have regulation which requires spittoons in a factory. अब अंग्रेज तो थुकदान लेके चले गए थे, वो भी उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ थोड़ी छोड़ा था. But we have kept that law. There's law which says that your wage slip has to be in particular font and particular color. अब आप wage slip email पे भेजो तो there's no rule and regulation on it. Now, should an entrepreneur be spending his energy on doing this kind of compliance or actually focus on business? So, while this GST reform is a step in the right direction, let's complement it through ease of doing business and many other reforms so that we can actually go and touch double-digit growth. All this thing is good for us to get 5, 6, 7% growth. हम वो कक्षा के वो स्टूडेंट है जो अव्वल दर्जे पे तो पास हो रहा है, बट सिर्फ 70% पेपर ही अटेम्प्ट कर रहा है, बाकी का 30% छोड़ के आ रहा है. Let's go and get 100 out of 100 by hitting 10% growth rate.
I was having a conversation with Atul earlier in the day because I was here and Atul said ki kya lag raha hai market, and I was like, because this is the one question that everyone is asking, kya lag raha hai market, pata kisi ko nahi hai. And the problem, Atul, is that earlier we could at least report something. Now at 3:30 my biggest challenge is what should be my headline, because Nifty 50 पॉइंट ऊपर है 50 पॉइंट नीचे और मुझे दोनों को एक्सप्लेन करना है. तो एक दिन क्रूड ऊपर था तो मैंने बोला मार्केट इज अप बिकॉज क्रूड इज अप. अगले दिन मार्केट नीचे था, मैंने बोला मार्केट इज डाउन बिकॉज क्रूड इज अप. कुछ ना कुछ तो रीजन ढूंढना है. बट यू टेल मी एज अ फंड मैनेजर, हाउ आर यू नेविगेटिंग दिस एग्जॉस्टिंग मार्केट, एंड डू यू थिंक दिस जीएसटी कट कैन लीड टू सम काइंड ऑफ maybe upliftment of sentiment?
So there's a line I heard long ago, I don't know from whom it was. So it says that they think we know. We know we don't know. But we also know they don't know. So it's like that. So we are in some sort of that stage. As you rightly said, we see the index se upar hai, so you have to manufacture a reason why the market is up. And half an hour later, the market is down. You have to manufacture a reason why the market is down. So in these narrow ranges, very often we, get into that phase. And we have been experiencing for the last 1 year. But as people who manage public money, we always tell people that, hey, take a time horizon little longer. The last 1 year has been very frustrating. It's been, the index is where it is, and most funds have actually lagged it. But the moment you stretch it, as Nilesh bhai said, that the returns that we've had since 2000, which I think was a major reset, which was the COVID time. Since there, we've had 4 years of phenomenal returns. And even if you factor in this sideways market of last 1 year.
You mean 2020?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
So the returns have been phenomenal. So yes, I mean, I think it's like, you're like a marathon runner, right? It's 42 kilometers. You set off. we were the best performing market those 3-4 years. But to complete a marathon, you don't have to be the first every kilometer. In fact, if you try to be the first every kilometer, you may not finish the marathon. It may exhaust you. At some stage, you need to retain your energy. You need to take a step back. So I feel that we are going through a consolidation in a larger bull market. And that 1 year is painful. Misplaced expectations, yes. The global markets are going up and we are not going up. That is even more painful. But one has to take a step back and look what we've done 2 to 3, 4 years before that. And from that point of view, I think it's phenomenal. So I think this is a correction in a larger bull market.